Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I hope everybody is enjoying this wonderful 1st of November. 1st of November. How is it November? I have no idea. November 1st. Any late nights with Halloween? It was not a typical Halloween for me. As the kids get older and older, there's less Halloween excitement. Farnaz, hello. I hope you're well. I was actually thinking that I haven't seen you for a while. It's so nice to see you. I hope you're doing fantastic. In celebration of November, you guys can't see, I brought out my little Halloween, my owl. My little owl comes out only during the fall. Maybe sometimes special times in the summer, because I guess they're around all year long, but they come out. I guess his orange little belly. So I hope everybody's excited, ready for a fantastic November. As November ramps up, so do the holidays and everything going on. Farnaz, nice to see you too. Fantastic. So I'm really excited to talk about clarity, and clarity is interesting. Blessings from Boston. Hello, Irie. Irie, I always now say it with this little Jamaican accent, which I hope it's okay, because I can feel your name now. I can feel the beauty and the joy in your name. I love that you shared the meaning. I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. I get the heart. Mary Alice, good morning to you. Fantastic. I couldn't tell if that was a big smile or a mask at first, but now I know that it's a big, big, wide grin smile. Fantastic. Well, I am excited to talk about clarity. I'm so excited to talk about clarity. And Violet with beautiful Violet on your profile pic and the beautiful Violet heart. Good morning from New York. Good morning to you. Valerie, hello, hello, hello to you. Wonderful to see you. Okay, so I'm really excited to talk about clarity, and you all know me, and those that don't, you'll get to know me really, really quick, because I think there's not a lot that I hide. Sporty Jen, good afternoon from a beautiful autumn day in Belfast. Fantastic, Sporty Jen, and she's got a red, I don't quite have red behind me, this beautiful red leaf going on. Okay, so clarity. What's the opposite of clarity? You know, I like the yin and the yang. I've been calling it yin and yang lately, yin and yang. The one side of the stick, the other side of the stick. The one side of that coin, the other side of the coin. So one side of the coin is clarity. Clarity. So what's the other side of the stick? Doubt. Self-doubt. So clearly is a form of clarity. That's why I paused and said that a few times to capture that humorous moment, because it wasn't on purpose. Clearly, when you have or do not have clarity, you have doubt. You do not have clarity, you do not have doubt. So step one, let's go straight into it. I'm going to go into all the different things because it's all coming to me. Step one is awareness. Awareness. So we're aware that we are in doubt, or are we aware that we want clarity? I think clarity is usually the one that you usually say, I have clarity, or sometimes we say we are confused. So I guess it can come different ways. Okay, I'm asking, it's my first question. Maybe I've already asked one. I asked one earlier in the chat. What's your awareness when you want clarity? Is it that you say I'm confused or I don't know? What's the step one? What's the awareness with the clarity when we're asking for clarity? So I guess that was my first question. Let's go straight into it. What is it that you desire? What is it that you desire? What is it that you desire? And we can talk about in terms of the emotion, I desire clarity, or we can talk about what it is that you're talking about, your awareness. I don't want to be doubtful. I don't want to be confused. I'm not satisfied. I do not feel fulfilled. I am not happy. I don't know if I'm doing what I need to be doing. I don't know if I need to be doing something same or different. So talk to me. What is the language? What is the step one awareness that you're all having? I think in the chat, it's Mary Alice, I believe it was you, Mary Alice, that said, I want to trust myself. So the clarity I'm looking for is in myself. Beautiful, Mary Alice. I am stumbling or fumbling. I am stumbling and fumbling. What's the difference between stumbling and fumbling? Stumbling I see with your feet, and fumbling maybe with your hands, like fumbling around, or maybe there isn't a big difference, but I'm stumbling or fumbling. Fantastic. So Mary Alice's judgment is on self. on self. I am not walking straight. I am not grounded. Valerie, I don't know. I'm not sure. That's what I say, but I want to calibrate to not doubting myself, trusting what I want and need. Fantastic. So what I wanted to get from us, to extract from each of us, because I find it's so much more powerful when everybody starts to speak and orient towards what is the awareness of what's standing in your way of the clarity we desire. So step one is awareness in terms of what is it that I'm feeling? What is the judgment that I hold on myself, on life, my circumstances, on others? Because it starts with that judgment, which is a lack of satisfaction. So interesting. The couple times now I've said satisfaction. Lynn, I have doubt about moving forward with my own life. Fantastic. So Lynn, doubt about moving forward with my own life. Mary Alice, I am stumbling or fumbling. Valerie, I don't know. I'm not sure. So it's all about I. Kaya, I think it's Kaya from Wisconsin. Welcome, welcome, welcome to you. So it's all about I. So that is wonderful, beautiful, Kaya. That's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So then when we have doubt, you all know that I like to take the lens and move the lens from a small lens to a larger lens. Okay, let's get out more of what we're struggling with. I'm struggling with what I'm prioritizing in decision making. So another I am struggling with myself. I don't trust myself. Additional degree for money or enjoyment where there needs to be a balance. Fantastic, from Colorado. April from Colorado. Beautiful. But again, it's an I. I am struggling with making a decision. So doubting the mind is the decision making. So I want us to start to recognize the bodies. Okay, for those of you that know me, you know. Those that don't, I will share, and it's great to reinforce. We have our guilg belief, where we hold our identities, where we hold our beliefs in life and ourself. We have our mental, which is our mind and our logic, our emotional bodies, which is where we have our feelings, our sadness, and our physical beings. So I'm hearing doubt in the self, stumbling or fumbling. Mary Alice, I'm not sure if that's an emotion or a judgment on the physical self. Valerie, I don't know, I'm not sure, but I want to calibrate to not doubting myself. I think that's on the mental body. Tell me y'all if this is resonating. Lynn, I have doubt about moving forward with my own life. So that's a judgment on me and my physical life and just being. So that's the physical body. April, I'm struggling with what I'm prioritizing in decision making. Example, a degree for money. I think that's a mix, but I feel it's more mind. Struggling with trusting my mind to make a decision rather. So I think that I feel just maybe it's a bit of both, a judgment in the mind and judgment in the physical being. Steve, the first awareness is knowing, feeling something's not right. Beautiful. So Steve it's a beautiful, strong feeling. I put in the word strong. It might not be strong, but I think it is. It's something doesn't feel right. And since, Steve, you're using feeling, bring in, just like stumbling and fumbling, the emotional body. So there's doubt in the emotional body. Sammy, I'm stuck in the past pattern. Fantastic, Sammy. I wanted to talk a lot about timing too. Is it because at the end of the day, there's a lot of doing with whether we're present in the moment with our clarity and doubt, because there's not a really doubt in this real moment. It's the projection of the future and the reflection of the past that makes us have doubt and lack our clarity. Because if all of us think of it, okay, everybody, I'm going to be quiet really early right now. We're 9 minutes in, we're hot and heavy, but I'm going to just be quiet and sense. Let's maybe take a breath or two. Let's take a first deep breath in. Release. Is there doubt in this moment? Or if we're collectively still enough and can truly feel the infinite nature of this moment, can you just connect with a sense of satisfaction, clarity with this moment? Okay, everybody, come back. I can feel the room. I can feel the vibration of the room go higher and higher. So one of the points that we're going to keep coming to as we continue to share and become aware, so we can acknowledge our greater desire, is our lack of clarity. Our doubt tends to be about the past and the future. So Sammy said it straight up. I'm stuck in the past pattern. And a lot of things that I read is about a judgment of the future. Perhaps it's a feeling now, but I interpret it's about how the future will unfold. So there's beauty and infiniteness in the present moment. So I just want us to bring awareness to time and our projection and judgment on the past and the future when we're looking to connect with clarity and trust. Okay, so that's all I wanted. How's everybody feeling with that? Lynn, love, I don't trust myself. Fantastic, I don't trust myself. Kaya, I'm struggling with how I view others' outlook on me. Okay, fantastic. So now we're getting other people. Fantastic, you guys, we're getting it all. So Kaya, it's now on the physical, how other people are seeing Kaya. I often interpret and have black and white thinking. Beautiful. So you recognize it's your mind. It's your mind interpreting and projecting how others are thinking of you. Fantastic. Struggling, it's rumination and not being able to let go and move forward from the past. And there's a story about the past. Fantastic. Wonderful. Because step one is awareness. Awareness. Once we recognize, oh, this is a pattern. Oh, this is a storyline. Oh, this is my conditioning that I get to grow and expand. So instead of putting resistance on all of these stories, we move to awareness. With awareness has less, ultimately should have no judgment. I was starting to say less judgment, but ultimately should have no judgment. No judgment, just awareness. Awareness is just being aware. It's accepting, it's seeing, it's smelling, it's being with, it's acknowledging, it's viewing. It's objective, it's flowing, it's riding the wave of. So instead of going from judgment, so just what did I say? Kaya says I'm struggling, and I said fantastic. I often interpret it and have black and white thinking. Wonderful, the black and white thinking, the polar thinking. No, the polar thinking is ultimately going to wear us out. Anytime we go on any degrees and say it's good, it's bad, it's right, it's wrong, it's black, it's white, that's ultimately fatigue. But the only way to break that cycle is an awareness of like, oh, I keep switching on and off. Ding, 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 ding. My brain is going on and off and on and off and on and off. And then when I have that awareness, now I can start to develop the tools, the muscles, the focus to start to not resist it, not judge it, not hate it, not engage with it, but sort of observe it. Oh, wow. I see that. I see that pattern. And then we say, okay, so what is it pointing it towards me? What is it pointing me towards? So I have doubt about how to engage with a family member who has hurt me deeply. Fantastic. So now we're bringing in relationships and trust of others. Beautiful. Mary Alice, all four, but I notice emotional first. Fantastic. So Mary Alice is saying, yes, stumbling and fumbling is all four, but it's emotional first. Fantastic. Wonderful. Farnaz, I fall in love and I'm blinded, even though I see warning signs, or maybe there's no signs, and I imagine it. Beautiful. So Farnaz, there's a trust with other people too then. There's a vulnerability and naivety that I see you say. And I don't know what body this one's coming in. It's coming in trusting yourself, and it's coming in protecting yourself, and it's coming in seeing and feeling and knowing what's best for you. Fantastic. Wonderful awareness. Steve, stumbling and fumbling is a thought process. Yes, mental, but underneath is emotional attachments and a belief. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, wonderful, 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 wonderful. Okay, so I see Sporty Jen, and then I'm gonna get to the meat that I think I have I'm feeling. Sporty Jen, Manal, I've thought a lot about this, and for me at this moment, the clarity I seek is on the emotional level. That I will never be able to accept the loss of my big sister and always feel such a profound loss. My heart aches so much without her. Every morning I wake up with knots in my tummy and the realization that there's another day of feeling and alone without her. I have so much change and stress in my life over the last few years, especially after so many bereavements. My new constant is change is inevitable, and I have no control to the extent I do not have the same zest for life. Nothing is guaranteed, nothing lasts forever. Illness and death are certain. My emotional self doesn't want to accept this. Okay, Sporty Jen, fantastic. Can you remind me when your sister passed away? Just so I know the spectrum of it. And that's also fantastic. And you know what I think, Sporty Jen? I would love 2018. Okay, 4 years ago, almost. What I feel, and you work with me, and everybody that can relate to a loss, work with me. I feel that there's a resistance to acceptance of the loss, and resistance to the acceptance of your ability to be because there's a loss. So I feel like there's an attachment somehow to loss that I would really invite how we could let go of the attachment to loss and move into acceptance of loss. So Sporty Jen and everybody that have a loss, can you see if you could see that there's a fight, a resistance, an attachment to loss? Can you feel that? That's what we want to remove before we can attack. Probably bad a word, but it's okay. Until we go to the loss level. We can't go to that loss level until we still see that there's this protection, this fortress, this defense mechanism, this big thing that's coming up over the loss, over the judgment of loss, the attachment of loss, the story of loss. So what we want to do is at ease that. See the loss and accept the loss. See the loss and just be with the loss. And we've talked about this before with the story of addiction, where almost we want to say, oh yeah, I'm an addict. And again, this is all egoic. We don't want to attach ourselves. We don't want to be attached to anything. At the end of the day, we want to come to I am. We want to be I am. We want to be I am. But if we resist being I am bad, I am lonely, I am alone, I am an addict, I have anger management problems, I am fearful, if we have resistance of this, we can never get to the I am, because there's layers of the resistance that are over the I am. So what I would suggest with everything that we're reading is, how do we shift? How do we shift there might be layers and layers and layers and layers, but we want to, how do we shift that resistance to resistance to resistance to resistance? That's going to be the start. So everybody tell me how that's resonating. Tell me how that's resonating. Geraldine, Manal, can you clarify naivety versus being trusting? Geraldine, naivety, I think, is turning off your knowing body. Naivety is that you're trusting somebody else before you trust yourself. Naivety is that you're giving your power away rather than keeping your power within yourself. So when somebody is naive, they are trusting somebody, and typically it's somebody that's not to be trusted. And this is this is you asking the question and me responding it from inside. And I'd like everybody to share. Does that resonate with you? But for me, naivety, I think of somebody that's naive. It's like, oh, I trust you more than I trust me, and you actually are not even trustworthy. So I've given my power to somebody rather than aligning with mine. So that's how I would say naivety. And I say naivety is actually giving my trust away, giving my power away, giving my power to those that we don't trust. Trust is a really interesting one, and I have a very interesting story about, or belief about trust. And ultimately, trust and clarity are lining up really strong. But let me go through these comments and then let's talk about it. Mary Alice, feels like accepting the loss is disloyal to the person. Fantastic. I was just going to ask, what is the resistance to accepting the loss? What is the resistance that are on the resistance? So let's get to that. So disloyalty to the person. Beautiful. It's beautiful. And then is there a resistant layer to the disloyalty to the person? Does that mean that I don't trust life and I don't trust God? Because ultimately that's where I want to get. That when we are, boom, all of the judgment is on ourselves. Everybody has talked about judgment on themselves, judgment on the past, and judgment on the future. So now ultimately that's the physical, and it might have been our emotional and our mental. Now, when we trust life, the purpose of life, the perpetual nature of life and death, the connection with all, non-duality, I am, there's a larger source. What's that source? Universe, higher power, inner being, God, earth, Mother Nature, higher power. What did I miss? Inner source. When we come back to this, then we recognize, and I was starting to get that at the lens, but I said, let's pull out some more stories. Then we recognize, oh, life and death. There's a trust in here that there's something that we don't control. That this is about the bigger and mysterious nature of the human journey in life. Chuck, definitely resonating when you say don't trust life and God or source or universe. No, this is where the fascination, this is where the ease, this is where we recognize. You all know I like to go to the lowest common denominator. So we all think this is about me, 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 me. I can't trust myself. I get into relationships that don't honor me. I have life and death that hurts me. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to, I. But ultimately, the spiritual and life journey, we move from I to we. From I to we. And we recognize the I in this journey. There's a purpose. There's a meaning. There's a taste. There's a value. There's a cycle. There's a mystery. But there is something. So let's talk. Do you all believe that there's a something? We've talked about death before, because ultimately at the end of the day, a lot of our inspirations come back to recognizing that we're fearful of our death and fearful of other people's death. And death is a beautiful symbol or a beautiful example of, oh wow, death is so near. Death is so near. Somebody I loved has died and it hurts like heck. And I'm fearful of death and I'm fearful of loss. Death is one of the biggest storylines to help us remind us of the fear of death and the loss of death. But it's the loss on the physical. On the physical. Do we believe that there's a connection on the spiritual, on the universal, on the energetic, on the vibrational? And so ultimately, what I recognize with our clarity and our doubt, we're stuck in the I. And that's not bad. That's part of the human journey. So I'm no way making any judgment. I'm just bringing awareness that, oh wow, I'm stuck in the I. Maybe you don't even say stuck. Oh, I'm in the I. Oh, look at all these eyes. I'm in the I. And in this I, I'm not trusting. So let me move my lens out of the I, which is the physical, emotional, or mental, and come into the I, egoic. And let me remind myself of the higher power of life, that there's meaning in the unfolding, in the stories, in the resistance, in the mind, in the physicality, in the life experience, and let me recalibrate to the truth of what I know, to the truth of what I know. But it comes through being honoring every story. So we are not going to dishonor any feeling or any story, because these are clues, and we're going to understand what these clues are, the emotional clues, the physical clues, the mental clues. We're going to find them all, but we're going to calibrate here. How does that feel, everybody? How does that feel? Geraldine, be told that I'm a trusting person versus being naive. I feel like open book. So Geraldine, anytime there's any type of judgment, so I love anybody that can be a dreamer. I love dreamers. But sometimes when you put a dreamer, there's a judgment that you're detached from reality versus being an inspiration or being a creator. So even though I really think that being a dreamer is such a wonderful attribute that you might have, I would be careful about using the word dreamer, because there tends to be judgment on it that means that you're detached from reality. And if you can look at that in a positive way, fantastic. But if you're looking at and connecting with it in that negative way, don't use dreamer. Use you're an inspiration. Use you're a creator. So again, Geraldine, if you're being told that you're a trusting person, but there's a judgment that trusting is giving your power away, and ask me tell me if I'm reading this wrong or not right, then you want to come back like, no, I own my power. And let's talk about trust. My favorite thing is the conversation about trust. I don't think we've ever had it, but I have it all the time with my coaching clients and with my friends and whatever might be. Okay, is trust. Do we trust ourselves or do we trust others? Do we trust ourselves or do we trust others? So let's talk about trusting others. Should we trust others? Should we trust others? Should we give our trust to others? That's a question. I'm asking questions. Steve right away says no. He says no, we shouldn't. And Irie says no as well. But what about absolutely not? Geraldine, thank you for the trust discussion. Geraldine, thank you for bringing it. And I see that dreamer has always been hard on you. We will come back to that as well after we finish trust. Chuck, not unmerited. Sporty Jen, depends on how well you think you know them. Okay, fantastic. So now we're starting to get some more, well, it depends. Erica, if they earn the trust. Okay, fantastic. Now, how about this for a spin? How about if we say, I trust that I know when to trust others. I know. So I will trust you to do X, Y, and Z, but I'll know if I shouldn't trust you to do X, Y, and Z. So I might trust one person all the time, but at one point I realize, oh, they're conflicted. I'm actually going to do this myself because I want it to be done, and I trust that I will get this done the way that I want. How does that feel? So rather than us giving the car keys to our car to somebody exclusively, and the car is our being, our heart, our trust, our this, not that we're defensive, but we know that ultimately the trust isn't giving our power away. The trust is even more, is that we can leverage the power of those around us because we know when and how and where to trust. Doesn't that now make us powerful? That there's nobody that has a 0-1. There's no binary on trust for anybody, but trust on herself. And then Lisa is coming to where I'm wanting to go. How do I learn to trust the universe when there has been so much pain and suffering? So beautiful. So Lisa sort of went where I wanted to go, but asked it in another question. So Lisa, instead of it being called pain and suffering, because I did want to get to ultimately trusting myself is about trusting the universe. So I wanted to go there, but what about instead of pain and suffering, we call it calibrating, conditioning, tooling, lifing, humaning. That's one of the main thesis of the message that I give in every inspiration and what I'm inspired to talk about is to not to see life from a lens of pain and suffering. There is a lot of pain and suffering. And I say that from a place of non-judgment. So the way that you asked the question, there was a judgment on pain and suffering as it is bad. I want to say that pain and suffering is part of the normal human journey. I want to say that there is a reason, again, coming back to here, boom. And I'm not saying this intellectually. I am saying this with belief, the belief of the belief. But I did not get here on day one. At first, I had a judgment about pain and suffering for the longest term until I kept asking myself, why, Manal? Why? Why? I kept going from here, the I, to me, the what is this all about? Why are we doing this? What is life? Why do some people get it easy and some people get it terrible? Why is there so much pain and suffering in this life from a place of judgment? Why do some people suffer, struggle, and then make it and seem to be living a really free life? And how come some people are super free and have the perfectest life and then boom, end up having a life that just disintegrates and you're like, wow, that's a really sad. So there's no linear path. You start off good and end up good. You start off bad and remain bad, or it might be a line. There's like these storylines. And so I ask myself, why? And it's because life is here for a journey. Life is here to teach us. Life is here for growth and expansion. This pain and suffering is not pain and suffering as a judgment. It is calibration for us to learn how to go in, to stop looking at all external events, measuring life from the external and measuring life from the internal. Because every experience that we have had makes us go inside to trust ourselves and then, or trust universe, maybe trust ourselves and then trust universe and trust ourselves. Doesn't matter. They're synonymous. It's synonymous. Me, universe, synonymous. How does that feel and how does that resonate? And so what I want, and Lisa, you tell me, you asked that question. And again, I don't want to get it intellectually. I want us to shift with our emotion. You know, we all know, and you say to me, why are we doing this? We'll go into our meditations and go into our emotional bodies. Today, because of clarity, it's sort of more of a judgment on the whole being. So even though we did sort of get emotional, this hasn't been a very emotional discussion. It's more intellectual discussion because we're talking about clarity, which is actually coming in our third eye. Clarity is more mental. Clarity is more, it's not an emotional topic, although we will always get to the emotion. We talked about loss, which was sadness, but loss was more on the physical. It wasn't the emotional. We didn't talk about the emotional element, although the loss is attached to emotion. So we start to deconstruct the key lime pie, but the nature of today's question sort of brings us to the physical, not the emotional. Does that make sense, everybody? Is everybody with me? And how do we all feel? Okay, Sporty Jet, it feels like the ego doesn't want to let go of this judgment. Fantastic. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. This is deconstructing the key lime pie, which is what we need to keep doing. You first thought it was your heart, and now you realize it is your ego that was attached to being. People look at you and say, oh, poor Sporty Jet. Oh, she lost her brother and then her sister. Sporty Jet, and how much of that is attached to who you are? I talk about so much that in our divorce, my kids and I were so cognizant that we were not going to be attached as that story of being the single mom and being whatever. There was that, I would not let that story be attached to me and my kids. And my kids were aware of it too, maybe because I resonated so strongly without judgment. But I'm like, that's not our storyline. And we have never been seen that way, except for every now and then when I feel bad because I'm, whatever. And then I see it's coming from me feeling bad. Did you even hear me say that? It comes from me feeling bad. So yes, your egoic body, we enjoy connecting with each other on suffering and struggle. And that's not bad either. And there's no judgment on it. It's an awareness. And then we ask ourselves, do I want to relate to everybody on my suffering and struggle? Or do I want to relate from my radiance and my love and my happiness and my desire to understand life and to enjoy the beauty of life? How do I want to resonate and relate to people? How do I want to relate to me? Do I want to relate to myself as the person that's had all these losses, or do I want to relate to myself as this radiant being that has lived a really full life and has loved so hard that I know I've loved, because if I didn't have this loss from this loss, I couldn't have been loved, and I want to focus on that love. If Sporty Jen, you did not love your sister so much, you would not feel her loss so much. So do you want to focus on the loss or the love? The love, the love. You had a love that some people don't even get in a lifetime. In a lifetime. In a lifetime. In lifetimes, maybe. Lifetimes, maybe. So I saw some hearts. How does that resonate? How are we feeling? It's hard to trust myself when my life has been so difficult due to poor decisions, mostly based on emotional experience. Fantastic, Chuck. Fantastic. And that's the awareness I want us to get to. I want us to get to the lowest common denominator, that we don't trust life. We don't trust life. And then we rebuild to say why. So now when you look at your difficult or your poor decisions, instead of having judgment on them, maybe they led them to where you are now. They led you to this willingness to look inside. They led you to stop evaluating life to what's going on outside of you, and to come inside of you and to align with your inner power, to align with your light, to align with the truth of who you are, align with the vibrance of yourself. Everybody, every single one of us are the most amazing, vibrant beings. We are. We are. I see all of your smiles and I can see your vibrance. They're sort of rotating through the screen. I can feel the vibrance. Are you letting your light shine? Are you feeling the shining of your light? And that's what we want to do together, is to remember, oh yeah, I'm light. I am light. I am a vibrant body. I am a shining being. We are light, and I think we are light. I'm talking we are light. We are light. But if you just want to see it symbolically, that's fine. But we are light. We are light. And this resistance holds our light back. And that's the human design. It's nothing bad. So your resistance isn't bad. But your resistance is like, okay, let's paint together. Let's redesign together. Let's reconfigure the way that my mind is looking at my life conditions and my future. Let's recondition together on our 4 different bodies how we think about the past, and we think about the future, and we think about the present moment. Let's start to do that together. Let's redesign ourselves together so our vibrant light comes out naturally. How does that feel? Who wants to do that? Who signs up for that? Who does it? Sammy. And I know there's comments behind I have to go back to. I don't know whether they're out of context now, but I'll go back because I love going back. Sammy, what's the correlation between timing, past, and physical? Okay, Sammy, I love talking about time. And I sometimes go, Manal, are you going to woo out there? Time exists on the physical plane, okay? When people say that time does not exist and time is a virtual reality, yes, true. However, please don't tell me that today when we were meeting at 9 a.m. Eastern, all of you were on at 9 a.m. Eastern. Whatever time zone it was, there was a calculation and we were on here, and we're on here at the exact same time. If we say what time is it right now it must be 9:38 and 38 seconds, 39, 40. There's a time clock up on top of my screen right here. So that's how I know. The InsightTimer, the application, has time so I can see how much is progress. Who's going to argue with me? Who's going to argue with me? Maybe someone will say, well, my oven clock says 9:39. And I'll say, yeah, because your oven clock isn't timed with this, and this is timed with whatever, whatever it might be. We might argue over the minutes. We might argue that the time is actually a different time because you're in a different time zone. And that maybe you're on daylight savings times and you're not. So maybe sometimes we're a 4-hour difference and sometimes we're a 5-hour difference. We might have these type of notional, but time exists on the physical. However, on the emotional plane, the mental plane, and the egoic plane, there is no time. So we can play with healing that happened, something that happened on day 1, by playing with there is no time. In manifestation, there's no time. In spiritual, there is no time. Time only exists in the physical. So when you recognize that I only have to consider time, and really in the physical, only what exists is present. They're like now. So really, if you want to really get to it, there's only now, but there is time. There is time because there's a date, there's a time, there's a common human understanding about the movement of life forward that means that there is time. So I will not get into that debate of whether there's seasons, there's time, there's calendars, there's dates, and whether it's a human manifestation of something that's virtual. It doesn't matter. I can get into those sort of theoretical conversations, but ultimately there is time, but it doesn't exist on all planes. Sammy, did I go too detailed in the answer, or did it give it to you? So what for me, the biggest thing about this conversation of time is stop limiting our lives on time. Stop saying that things are going to take a long time. Stop saying things are going to take a short time. Stop saying things that are hard, and stop correlating our life to time, because there's no time. Ooh, guys, I almost knocked over my laptop. There's no time on these planes. There's no time on these planes. No time on these planes. So when we're living life, when we're being in life, when we're enjoying life, don't attach time. Don't attach time. How does that feel? How does that feel? Because I love us detaching from the limitations of time. I love it. I love it because I see that we all do it. And it was one of the first really shifting while I was on my spiritual journey. I see that heart. It was the first shifting, is detaching from the concept of time, and more than the concept of time, the limitations of time. The limitations that, this will take a long time. It will take 5 years for you to do this. It will this. I'm like, no, when I look around, people are breaking records all the time, and how quick it is to expand, and how quick it is to grow a business at this size, and how quick it is to do this. I said, people are breaking records all the time. I am not going to limit myself to time. So good. Do you like that? Do you like that, Sammy? Do you like that? Chuck is saying true, and he says attachment is not fluid, be like water, says Bruce Lee. Yes, I want us all to be like water. Okay, good. Gary, what's more difficult, scrapping the old or rebuilding the new? Gary, I hope you like this answer. They are both easy. They're both easy. For some people, they might have more conditioning on their past than viewing their future. For some people, they might have reversed, but ultimately, Gary, they're both easy. They both take the same step. They both require awareness. And they both require acknowledgement of what's desired, trust, not judging the past, not judging the future, not fearing the past, not fearing the future, trusting the past, trusting the future. And that's all by being present. So I think they're both the same. Now, if you ask different one of us based on our conditioning, somebody might say, well, I'm having difficulty letting go of my past, but I can dream of my future. And some people will say, I have easy with my past, but I won't have my future. So each of us as physical human beings might have a different perception of the past versus the future. But I'm going to say to all of us, it's easy. Because it all takes the same skill sets. It all takes the same awareness and the focus and desire. And just by virtue of you all being here, I know we have it. So Gary, tell me that you like that answer. Tell me that you love that answer. Let me know. Lynn, the most important thing you said today, for me, that's beautiful. Actually, today on Attaining Your Authentic Life, the post is going to be, what is it that you heard today that shifted you the most? What is it that you heard today that shifted you the most? So we're going to start on the group. We're going to start talking about things before the discussion. We're going to start waking up the preamble. Like today I said, what is it that you want clarity in? And then post, we're going to start talking about what is it that you grew on? How is it you reflected? What did you hear that really helped you shift? So that's what we're going to start to do at Attaining Your Authentic Life. And we've all said collectively, we want that group to really represent what we do during our inspiration. So I just encourage everybody to go on and talk and let's going on. Lynn, the most important thing you said today for me, beautiful, is that my loss is not what defines who I am. As in the example of your divorce story. Fantastic, Lynn, fantastic. And I can feel the goosebumps on that. I feel the goosebumps. That's what I want us all not to be attached by the story. And guess what? Other human beings will force you into that attachment. How many times have I said, no, do not call me a single mother. They say, well, you are a single mother. And I'm like, oh yeah, but you're saying that with judgment and you are making me less than. I said, I can hear that. I said, if you want to call me a single mother as you're a single mother with no judgment and no attachment and no less than, fantastic. I am a single mother. But if you are going to use a phrase that is known in society to be somebody that has to work harder and provide more and has less, I almost said hell. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. No, do not call me a single mother. Absolutely not. And one of my dearest friends, I'm going to treat you're a single mom. I'm like, whoo, no, that is not going to be a label that I will accept. If it was clean, I was going to say if it was clean like being a woman, which isn't clean. If it was clean like being a man, which isn't really clean. I don't know any label that is really clean. You guys tell me what label is truly clean. Even nice. Oh, he's a nice man. He's a nice, like, even that sometimes, like, there's sometimes like unclean. Lynn, mother, I can tell you how mother is used sometimes in a, oh my God, one of the worst swear words has mother in there. Sometimes mother is used in a very condescending way. Human, Irie, I can even talk about how they talk about in the environment and say humans don't care about the world. Every noun, I think, can show that it's used in a condescending, exactly, there's judgment. Condescending. The only thing that cannot be condescending is I am. So I absolutely love labels, okay? We've talked about this with illnesses, with things that, with labels, whatever it might be. I absolutely have no problem with anybody using any labels. I live in Raleigh. My kids go to this school. Whatever, I work in this place. I can't think of the examples. You guys know, my background is here. As long as there is no judgment and limitations in it. And be aware of how you hold your labels. I know one person, I don't know if I know them physically or it's a story of this person that had to always be called doctor. Always had to be doctor. That's an interesting ego. I would love to talk to that person. That's an interesting ego that always has to be called doctor because he had to be reminded of his worthiness through a label. So everybody be aware of the labels that you hold and not the labels. There's no problem with labels because sometimes they give you connection, self-understanding, data points, you know, whether you've got this or an autoimmune or whatever it might be, it might give you data points, but attaching yourself to something. Good. I think this part has hit home to everybody. Shock. Description is limiting. Hence, adjectives and labels create a limiting belief. Exactly. So if we're using things to empower us, go to town. Go crazy. If you're using it just for informational purposes in a clean way, I'm a single mom. Boom. Even that, I still feel the weight of it. So even that, so I just don't want to say that. I prefer to say I got divorced X number of years ago. And that's cleaner. It was an activity rather than a label. It's something that happened, that passed, versus I am. The only thing I want to be is I am. Karen, even my name is now judging. Karen, exactly. Karen. Think I called the other day, instead of saying vanilla, I said plain Jane on the inspiration. I'm so embarrassed with myself. I said, Manal, you just really said plain Jane. And I think I said it to everybody. I'm like, I can't believe I just said plain Jane. I'm like, poor Janes. There is nothing plain about a Jane. So if you're on here and you were on last time and I said plain Jane, I love you and I am so sorry. That was just a conditioning plain Jane that came out before Manal. How the heck did you say that? Janes are beautiful. Geraldine, angry black woman. Exactly. Angry black woman. Can't be black without being an angry. Terrible. Erica, love the releasing of labels. Me too, Erica. Yes, my fellow Karen, I find myself using K to avoid the Karen label. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Even my friend, her son said to her, "Oh mom, you're being a Karen." And I'm like, we're like, how did poor little Karen? Karens, I love you. I love you. One of my dearest friend is a Karen. Karens are beautiful. Karens are beautiful. Janes are beautiful. Every name is beautiful. And so let's stop letting these judgments and these labels, let's stop allowing them to live within ourselves, and then that will allow us to release it from the world, and then we will be a mirror to everybody, to everything. Okay, fantastic. Now guys, I missed a lot of things above. Did anybody say something in there that you want me to go? I'm sort of scrolling. Okay, Lisa, how do I trust the universe when there is so much pain and suffering? So do you guys agree there's not a lot of pain and suffering? Do you guys agree? Gary, I was just G on IT for years. Fantastic. What is a Gary? I don't know what a Gary is. Karen, I like that Spider-Man names his suit voice Karen. That's what I go with it. Fantastic. Yeah. We don't allow those attachments to go us. And when you hear somebody say Karen, or whatever way that they say it, don't even allow that attached to you, that your Karen is different than that Karen. That becomes a great filter, that Karen does not even be your Karen, that there's not even like, on the other day on Nextdoor, every now and then, I don't know why I go on Nextdoor, I get the emails, and every time I turn off those emails, it still comes on. But anyway, there was somebody said they're just being a Karen, and then a Karen went on there and was really offended. And I get it, but also don't see that your name is that Karen. So that's what some people want to do, and use this new term, but that's not you, Karen. That's not you, Karens. So don't even allow, you have this protective shield like Spider-Man that doesn't even allow yourself to feel that Karen is your Karen. That's not you, Karen. You're a beautiful, radiating, amazing Karen. You are Karen means pure. Karen means pure. You're beautiful. You're pure. So don't even allow that Karen. And then if it does, watching Saturday Night Live and they talk about a Karen or whatever, I don't know if they do now, if it's, but whatever they might do, see whether or not you feel and hear your name. See whether or not you react. See whether or not that it makes you judge yourself. Just become aware and just build up that muscle and that muscle until it's an absolutely different noun. That somebody can say you're being a Karen and it has no connection to you. That's when your muscle is really built. And then someone says to you, you're being a Karen, and you go, yeah, I am Karen, and you laugh at it, and you do not even take what they may have been insinuating. That's when you know that your muscle is built. That you're like, you know what, I've done my work on being a Karen, and my name is pure, and it's beautiful, and it's 5 letters, beautiful 5 letters, and 3 beautiful consonants, and in the middle it's vowels, and the beauty of the Karen, it's beautiful, and you take that noise of the external and you internalize to the beauty and the purity of who you are, and the beautiful and the purity of your name. And that's your muscle. And if you hear it, you say, that's my muscle. That's my muscle. And you don't need one of those people that defend yourself and say, hey, don't use my name in that way, because they're not using your name. They're using a societal defined something that until one day they realize, that's not really kind. Why am I doing that? There's people named Karen, and why would I use that name? That they reflect internally. And how do they reflect internally? We don't respond to it. Us as a community, we don't use it. And when people say it, we don't respond to it, or we do respond to it from a non-judgmental judgment. Oh, I know a bunch of Karens and I adore them. So what do you mean by a Karen by that way? Oh, that's not a Karen, that's a whatever, and we define it a different way. So, but us from a place of grounding, not from defensiveness, not from something we need to protect, from beauty. Beautiful, Chuck, that's right. We need to stand up for ourselves. That's affirming. And we stand up ourselves by being grounded to the truth of who we are. Karen is a beautiful name. Nobody is going to take that away from me, that name Karen, I love it. So even when I hear Karen, the way that they say it, I don't see the name Karen. I have never associated my girlfriend Karen ever with that Karen that they use, ever. I've never, ever, 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 till this moment when we're talking about Karens, and I said, oh, one of my dearest friends is a Karen, have I ever taken that and extrapolated to her? Those were two different nouns, because the energy behind those nouns, the love, the respect, the care, has nothing to do with the energy behind that noun. And that's what we want to get to, is to the energy. And don't allow your name to be sucked up with that energy. Okay, are we done with that topic? Are we done with that? Are we done with that? Okay, beautiful. Farnaz, all of us get labeled and we label others. Exactly. And that's why I love going back to the egoic body. Today about clarity, it is about the name egoic. It's about getting connected and grounded with I am, and trusting the universe and trusting life. And when we trust, then we get clarity. When we trust this moment, we have clarity. When we trust the universe, we get clarity. When we trust death, we get clarity. When we trust our emotions, our anger, our sadness, we get clarity. So that's what I want for us all, the clarity. And the clarity comes through just coming back to the meaning of life. What are we living for, guys? What are we living for? Okay, that's a question. That's a question. What are we living for? Steve, I like the name Karen too. These kids nowadays, yes. I love the name Karen. I think it's so beautiful. Karen, I appreciate this so much. So done with it. Beautiful. And Karen, Karen wasn't like, your names aren't what led to this conversation. It was about Lynn saying, I appreciate that I'm no longer going to attach myself to being what Lynn, I don't even know what you're attached to. And that my story of not being attached to being a single mom is what sort of brought it up. So that's what I want for all of us to, let's look at some of our stories. We've been talking about, trauma, and we've been talking about victim, and a lot of those inspirations, it's all about not being attached to those stories and attached to being a victim, attached to being trauma. It's letting go of the attachment. So Karen, we just emphasized your name Karen because we just started talking about plain Jane and then Karen. So this was really more of a symbolic for all of us. Symbolic for all of us. I think it's beautiful. Mary Alice, living for joy. Living for joy. JG, Karen was my mom's name. It does upset me a bit. Beautiful, JG. Just be aware of it. And then let yourself say, why do I allow my mom's name, who was a beautiful woman, loving woman, amazing woman, has nothing to do with that one. So that's even like allowing our lenses, that no matter how similar something is, that doesn't project on what my is such an amazing muscle to build. Such an amazing muscle. My name is Manal. A lot of people call me Manal, or they call me different things with the A. It doesn't bother me at all. It doesn't bother me at all, because I just know that everybody's just, one of my friends, it bothers her so much, and it bothers me that it doesn't bother me. I'm like, why would I really, like, I sometimes I'll say, no, it's Manal, not Manal, but sometimes when I say it, people can't hear it. And then I honor that people don't hear things sometimes, and then I just sometimes just roll with it, like the energy of shifting it. And maybe I've got the wrong attitude, but it's just really interesting because I'm not even attached to how my name is pronounced. I'm attached to it being spoken to from love, from respect, from care. I really appreciate somebody taking the effort to say my name rather than to know my name. And that's what I feel. I don't even really hear sometimes the name being mispronounced. Sometimes I don't even hear it. So it's just really interesting. So let's be cautious and aware of how we attach, and let's detach. Geraldine was laughing at the Karen name labeling concept, not I, but others. Good, and I hope this was brought Beautiful awareness to all. Kids can be vicious, actually, when I think about it, junior high and stuff. Steve, and that's wonderful, but my junior high kids, they're amazing. They're such good boys. My son and his friends are such good boys. Such good boys. So even that, like, let's look at the stereotypes that we hold to everything and just ask ourselves, where are these stereotypes coming? They're good boys. They're boys. And I got him two new laundry baskets for his bedroom and the bonus room, because I'm like, let's try to see how we can get clothing somewhere rather than everywhere. So there's things and skill sets that we want to build on. But such good boys. My girls, when they were junior, they were good girls, like really good girls, and their friends were really good girls. So how do we model and see the beauty in what we want to see? How do we want to be seen, and how do we see? How do we see? How do we see? Okay, good. I know that we still missed stuff up above. Chuck, working in the present moment makes rebuilding easier. Fantastic. Everything is about being present. Sammy, the concept of detaching from limitation of time is so liberating. How is it that some people can do it when most people struggle in the limits of time? Sammy, everything is a muscle. And the fact that we're talking about it and starts with awareness, and then we start muscling it. It's almost like, how come some people can run a marathon and some people can't? First of all, I don't ever want to run a marathon. I laughed because somebody's bumper sticker the other day said 0.0. And I was like, Manal, why do they want to identify with not being a runner? So I had a really interesting conversation with my own mind. Like, okay, I get why people want to identify with being a marathon runner. Why does somebody, I guess funny, but how come some people can run a marathon and some people can't? Because they train for it. They train for it. So Sammy, have you trained yet for changing and reconfiguring the way that you look at time? I know that in elementary school, my teacher, it was my principal, Mr. Karkner. He was such an amazing principal, but he talked to us. He was the first time that mentioned time to me. Is he said, oh, in the summer I never wear my watch because I don't have to watch my watch. I sort of watch my watch. But anyway, in the summer I don't have to look at time, so I never watch. Why do I keep saying watch my watch? I never wear my watch in the summer. So he was the first one that let me know, oh, there's an attachment to time. And I remember I really reflected on that, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade, but really realizing that I wasn't, or was I attached to time? What did time mean, or what did time feel like? But I just thought it was a really interesting statement. So he, as a principal, would practice disengaging from time by not wearing a watch during the summer. So have you been practicing letting go of the concept of time? Are you always living by the clock? Are you managing time? Do you have a judgment on yourself on time? Are you always early? Are you always late? Do you sleep in? Are you an early waker or you're a late waker? Start to look all the labels that you might have on time, on the labels that you have on yourself on time. What's your relationship with time? Okay, everybody, right now, let's talk about it. I see the hearts coming. What are our relationships with time? What is the relationship? Geraldine, this is really hard, Manal. I ingress, lifelong struggle. Geraldine, it's hard until it's not hard. Okay, you guys want to hear that it's hard? Perfect. Life is hard until it's not hard. Sometimes I've kicked myself for saying, Manal, why are you feeling this when you've done all this work? Because it's a human journey. And now I condition myself for having a human journey. It's hard until it's not hard. Walking for a baby, is it hard or not hard? It's hard until it's not hard. They fall, they pick up, they fall, they pick up, they fall, they pick up, they fall, and it stops being hard. Teething. Kids, in the early days, we used to laugh all the time. Anytime any of my nieces or any of the children, any of the babies, my mom would say, they're teething. I'm like, Mom, what are they teething? Their whole life? Maybe she was right, because they are teething a lot during their early years. But anytime the kids were cranky, my mom would say they're teething. It made me giggle at one point. It didn't matter. They were teething. So yeah, is teething hard? Absolutely, till it's not. Then we get braces and then it hurts again. It's hard. Do you want to look at it hard? Or you just want to look at just sort of, this is the process. So Geraldine, even that this is hard. Are we attached to hard? What can we talk about instead of hard? Okay, Geraldine giving me, Steve, you're crushing my W loveness. What loveness? So good to hear. Let's get clothes somewhere. What are you talking? Oh, my son. I don't even want to talk about the socks. The socks. So I've discovered that the best thing with socks is when you get sports socks is get all the same socks. All the same brands, so then when you do laundry, you just stick them together. You don't have like 20 pairs of different pairs. You can have like, doesn't really matter. These are all the black Nikes or the Adidases or the Pumas or whatever it might be. With him, somehow I have 3 different brands, and the end of each laundry, he just sticks any black pair together. I'm like, I've simplified your sock process, but look at it. Don't take an Adidas with Nike. Stick the Nikes with the Nikes. Anyway, anyway, you guys are getting me off. So yesterday I said, you take that laundry basket, stick it in the bedroom. I got another one for you for the bonus room. I'd like to see you play basketball by throwing in there. Let's see whether that helps or not. Anyway, I'm glad that you guys are amused with the socks. Amused by the socks. I'm telling you, those socks. Okay, Geraldine, I meant nigrous, not the N-word. Years of conditioning, concept, and how language is used. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And that's what I want. That's what I want. That word, that N-word really upsets me too. And it really upsets me how it's used in music and how it's used and how it's like can be used but couldn't be used and the history of the use and the weight behind the use. And I want it all to be from love and to be from pride and to be from beauty. And I know there's a lot of history, so I don't want to go into like things that whatever, but let's let go of labels. Let's accept everybody. Let's see the beauty in everybody. Let's see the beauty in everything. And if there is something that is controversial because there's energy behind it, let's just recognize it and stay away from it, rather than be part of that polar conversation of it's good, it's bad. It's like, let's find the respect for it and maybe not avoid it from a place of I'm not seeing, but from shifting to a place of respect of there's a lot of emotion going on in here, and let's not add to it by calling something right or wrong. Let's honor it as is. And Geraldine says it with such beauty. I mean, it's a beautiful word. It's a beautiful word. Again, when I look at the consonants and the vowels and the beautiful, the N, the G, the R, the SS, the I, the E, it's a very beautiful word. So beautiful. So beautiful. Let's hold it in that beauty. Let's start to shift it. So let's start to shift it. Valerie, I do have attachment to time. When I'm late, I stress and get scared because when I was younger, my mom and dad were always late and we would be late at school and felt so ashamed. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Mary Alice, I've been practicing seeing time as liquid for several years. It seems to help. Yes, it helps us get present. Letting go of the concept of time is the first step to getting present, because you can't get present You know what I love in these inspirations? More and more, you guys are comfortable when I just be quiet for a bit. And I'm not only comfortable, I feel that it's welcomed as a treat. But I can't get present until I let go of the concept of time. So during this inspiration, how many of you are looking at the clock and how many of you are not looking at the clock? How many of you thinking about before? How does time feel to you? How does time feel to you? Okay, let's start with feelings. We haven't gotten to feelings. What does time feel to everybody? What's your relationship with time? Steve, I absolutely think so too about that word spirited. Spirited. Is there, talk to me more about that, spirited. Steve, very controlling. So time is controlling. Valerie, time makes me feel on edge. Bufit, Sporty Jen, precious, which means lack. Beautiful. Chuck, anxious. Okay. Oh my God, guys. Allison, cycles of nature. Okay, that's beautiful. Allison, that's beautiful. That's a bit more. There's a cycle. I like that. Okay, beautiful. So more emotions on time. This is, guys, this is fascinating. We've never done this. This is a really healthy one. We talk about time, but I've never said, how does it make you feel? I can tell you the old Manal, okay? The old Manal. And she was never old. It's funny because one of my neighbors that moved out, she introduced herself as an old neighbor, and I'm like, oh, she doesn't mean she's old, she means a previous neighbor. So the previous Manal, that's better than saying the old Manal. I had a good laugh of this. Okay, the old Manal, always late, rushing, driving, looking at the clock and looking at the destination, looking at it go from, like, if I had to be there at 10:05, watching it go from, or 10 o'clock, why did I say 10:05? Anyway, watching it go from, like, the navigator going from, like, 10:04 and then speeding a bit and getting it to 10:03, going a bit faster and getting a few turns and watching it go to 10:02, and then ultimately arriving at 10:01. And then I'm like, okay, I'm not that bad. But then I'm like, that 20-minute drive felt awful. And all I was doing was judging myself and looking and just uncomfortable, and my mind was constantly engaged. It did not feel good. And then when I had children, you know, you guys were talking about how it felt to be a child and your mom and dad. One of my daughters did not like being late. It made her feel really bad and anxious. And I don't even think I was aware of it till later. One of my carpool buddies was aware of it, and she's like, I'm coming early because that's what your daughter likes. She likes to be like me. She likes to be early and punctual. And she's the one that started to make me be aware of my impact of my relationship on time with somebody that was a bit more anxious and wanted to be there at 22. And I remember one of the teachers really embarrassed me when she's like, Manal, I'd like you to come early. And I'm like, oh, what time? Like, I thought she wanted us early. And she's like, her definition of early was really like on time. The kids could get there between 8:40 and 9. And mine would get there at 2 minutes to 9. And she meant on time by being there at 8:40, not 9. And I'm like, why am I doing this to my kids? Why did I do this to my kids? Rather than them walking into the class, taking off their backpack, grounding, signing in, taking out their lunch. I created an energy of let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. We're gonna be late. Oh my God, grab this. Oh no, I forgot my keys. Oh. That didn't feel good. It did not feel good. Sporty Jen, yes, I've done that. I like to be on time. I do not like to be late. Fantastic. Christine, regimented. Allison, feels terrible and demanding jog, like responsibility when hosting an event when not done non-linear. Beautiful. Beautiful. So now let's look at, so one day I arrive at an event and I realized my heart was still pounding. There was still adrenaline and I was there. But that feeling, the pre-feeling of not feeling good getting there, continued while I was there. Because you just can't go from 0 to 1. You can't just get grounded, all of a sudden you're here. So I'm like, Manal, look at you. Because of your relationship with time, you are negatively, adversely affecting the way that you feel. How can you shift this? How can you shift this? I'm like, oh, by tell me if I'm talking too much, guys, too anecdotal. By changing the way that I see time. So instead of me needing to be somewhere at 8, I would shift it and say I needed to be there at 7:45. Or actually, I think in the beginning I shifted all my clocks. All my clocks were 5 for 10 minutes. So in the beginning, even though you know they're adjusted, you still have this, like, you just still adjust it. So the first way of me playing with time was me changing the time physically on everything for me to see things were 10 minutes. And then I started to add a 10-minute buffer to everything. So if I thought it would take 17 minutes or 7 minutes to get somewhere, I would add 10 minutes or 5 minutes and say, actually, this is a 20-minute ride and a 10-minute ride. This is a 17-minute ride or a 7-minute ride, whatever it's been. And so I started to create some different tools that ultimately helped me, because I'm regimented, to re-regiment the way that I felt with time. Until more and more and more and more I muscled that time is my friend, and to flow with it. Who set it up about, was it you, Chuck, that talked about Bruce Lee saying flow like water? Water doesn't have time. Just flow. Allison, in burlesque, one move at a time makes more impact. Went to a self-confidence class. Exactly. One moment of, one move at a time. And be present in that movement. That's what, one move at a time. You can only be present with that one move. Be present. Mary Alice, your examples help ground the concepts and make it easy to relate and integrate. Fantastic. Fantastic. That's what my intention is. But sometimes I see that my stories, like stories about socks, go off on a tangent. Steve, I kind of love how you talk to yourself. Maybe I should do this. Steve, you know who taught me how to talk to myself? My dad. My dad would always talk to himself. And I'm like, Dad, are you talking to yourself? He would always say, this just shows you my dad, it's the only way to get an intelligent answer, is what he would say. So he's taught me, I guess he mirrored it. So he would always say that. So yeah, I always talk to myself. And my friends, when I'm talking to myself, because I'll talk to myself in third person, they would just like laugh, like, Manal, really? She's a third person. When I'm growing and expanding, the best way to grow and expand is by putting myself in third person. Because I get to see myself outside of myself. And what I would say is this new Manal, she's not even punctual. Time is not even a concept anymore. It is a concept that I know I need to be somewhere at 9, but it's comfortable and it's flowing and there's no tension. And, you know, my son is he's more of like the old Manal because he was conditioned to that. And it's fun to watch him start to learn and to decide when something needs him to leave 10 minutes early. There was a really big football match, some football thing, Friday night lights, and he was the head coach. And he was late to the first 7:45 a.m. or 8:45 a.m. meeting. He was late to that one. And the coach of that coaches, not the coach, but the school said, guys, don't come late next time. So he made us leave much earlier and even factored in that it needed to be much, much earlier because he was driving, because it was important to him. And he was a leader and he wanted to model leadership. I didn't tell him all of this, but it was him sort of picking up on things that we start to model, and it's fun to watch him. And today he had to be there at 8 instead of 9 because he works in the cafe, and he was there because he couldn't find his basketball shoes. I tangent, you guys. He couldn't find his basketball shoes, and so we ended up getting at 8:04 or 8:05. I don't know what time he got there. And he said, Mom, it's okay, it doesn't matter. And I said, you know what? If it doesn't matter, then why are you supposed to start at 8? Because they get there early and it opens at 8:30. I said, you need to find out whether it is okay for you to come, like fluid between 8 and 8:10, or if you're just making that up, because this is a job and there's a responsibility. So again, getting him to own time, not when he's a leader, but all the time. So let's model it to kids by doing it. Let's model it to our children by being it, by living it, not by forcing it, not by efforting it, but by doing it. Allison, a lesson in slowing down. And I think even bigger, what's the judgment and how do we hold time? Our relationship with time is one of the biggest elements about our relationship with the physical. Our relationship with time, I'm surprised we've never talked about this yet. I think we've talked about time, but how we feel about time is a truly clearly, like really strongly connected about how we feel about and live life. I think we did talk about time once when we talked about our judgment on time and how we even project that judgment on others that might have a better relationship on time. So there's conflict on time between relationships. I'm relaxed and they're tense. and then you want to project your anxiety about time onto somebody that's that isn't. So let's break it down. Maybe we should have a topic about time. Chuck, a lot of this is about emotionally grounding, I believe. Yes, Chuck. Yes, we talked about the egoic, and we never have still come back to the essence of clarity. Chuck, third person viewing helps us to be more objective and less judgmental. Yes, it's about being objective. It's about looking at it. It's about being aware, and it's not about judging ourselves. Yes, yes, absolutely yes. And not feeling it and getting caught up in the stories. This morning I was reflecting on something. I forget what I was reflecting on. It was on the drive back home from dropping off my son, and I realized, why are we so... Let's stop resisting our stories. Let's stop making our stories bad, wherever we came from, what we're doing. Like, a lot of it's about the resistance of our stories. And that third person, like I'm reading a novel, and I'm like, even about ourselves, allows us to not see things as bad and good, just as like, oh, this is a story. A story. Beautiful. Steve, we were talking about doubt and said to talk about the emotion. Beautiful, beautiful. So have we gotten out the emotion? Have we shifted, or are we not shifted? That's what I want to know. So, okay. So at the end of the day, guys, clarity. When we're talking about clarity, and we started, I'm coming back, rewinding to the beginning, We talked about clarity, and we talked about, ultimately, everybody talked about what they were looking for clarity in, and it was trusting ourselves. Everybody had an I in there. So what I want to introduce, and what I haven't really come to, I think we danced around it, but we haven't come to it, is that I, and we got to it right now when we're talking about that time, but that I, that Manal, that Geraldine, that Steve, that Chuck, that Allison, that I, the trust in this I can only come when we're actually trusting in the physical experience, in our physical experience, but in life, the physical experience of life, that we trust the earth, we trust the ground we walk in, we trust the moon that comes, the sun, the cycle, we trust life, we trust death, we trust earth, we're grounded in earth. And we recognize that there's a bigger purpose. So we're grounded from the top and the bottom. We've talked about this in a lot of inspirations, that ultimately trusting ourselves requires a grounding on our physical, trusting the physical. If I trust the physical, I trust myself. We cannot trust ourselves void of living life. We cannot, because we are supported by this life in this earth and this storyline that we have. So we singularly cannot trust ourselves without recognizing that this life journey, this human journey, is to be trusted. Tell me if this is resonating, because this is what I wanted to get to at the very, this is what I wanted to get to with respect to clarity. Steve, I can't do that. Or right now, I can't do it. No, that's fine. I am not going to effort anybody to do it. Ever. But what I want us to do is to be aware of it. And so, Steve, I really love the strength of that. What's in the way of that? And if anybody else feels like, oh no, I can't trust it, what's in the way of that? This is what I want to get to. What's in the way of that? What's in the way of that? What's in the way of that? I'm pausing for that because I think this is a really, really, really big one. Because ultimately, to trust ourselves, to have clarity, to find alignment, to have everything that we're looking for, the balance, the belief, the trust, the love, the joy, the happiness, the freedom, the worthiness, there's got to be trust in this human journey. And that's in the physical plane. This is our physical stories. And then there's got to be trust in the spiritual, our purpose, our life and our death. Life and death is up here. Death is up here. Life is up here. The mystery. Sporty Jen, beautiful. Anger and fear. Steve, others. Jules, fear of failure. Fantastic. You guys, this is fantastic. Can we go into it? Let's go into it. Everybody write it in the window, and then let's go into it in a mini meditation. This is powerful. This is powerful. This is powerful. So everybody says, this is hard. This is hard. This is hard. You know what's hard? The feelings that we have never really acknowledged. So they're like an attic that has never been cleaned, and it's full of dust and maybe bats and maybe rats and maybe really dusty and dirty and boxes and history and old things. Oh my God, you guys are really waking up on this one. Something sucked away my self-trust. Probably fear. Fantastic, guys. Fantastic. Chuck, meditation, introspection, and learning how to connect and trust our intuition. Beautiful, Chuck, beautiful. And I feel like the emotional body is the body that's missing in a lot of the work that's doing. And that's why I go and boom, hit the emotional body. Bring it up. So Steve is others. Steve, I want you to go deeper than others, and I want you to look at the emotion. I know you don't like to, and I know last week I was worried about you because you didn't talk again after you felt that desire not to be seen. And so I've checked up with you in the Attaining Your Authentic Life group to make sure you're okay. So I know that the feeling sometimes is intense. So I want you to be more third person. I want you to be more third person. When you feel your feelings, go more third person. And everybody, if your feelings are super intense, go more third person. Go more, take your lens further out, further out, further out. Ultimately, I want us all to go in and to ride the wave, but some of us need to do more third person, have the lens out there until it gets more comfortable. We let go more and let go and more and let go more and let go more and let go more and let go more. Does that make sense? So let me give you the analogy of the attic. We go in there and we haven't cleaned up and haven't touched our emotions a long time. We haven't exploded. We haven't been angry. We haven't let it out. We haven't had a good cry. We haven't whatever. So now we go into the attic and I say, let's touch our emotions. And you want to carry all the boxes, clean all the dust and empty, open up all the windows at once. Not going to work. Not going to work. So when we bring it into the lens of the bodies, I want us to be as comfortable as we can with the discomfort. And if you're too uncomfortable with the discomfort, then go a bit further and go a bit less and just become aware of it without, I always say, do not overindulge in the feeling. That's what I mean. Do not overindulge in the feeling. Just become aware of it. Do not be like, ooh. Don't take more boxes than you can hold. Don't try to sweep the whole attic in one fell sweep. Steve, it's not emotion. I cannot have them in this situation. Okay, so it's a mindset. It's a mindset. What's keeping you from trusting life? You're saying it's others. So is it a mindset? I want to know what part of the I want to move it from them to the I. And again, I understand the physical situation is happening. I'm not negating any physical stories, but right now we're in a period of spiritual growth. So we've invested ourselves right now to spiritual awareness and awakening. So, and you're here now and you're communicating now. So I want it to be the I am scared, that my mind is this, that I feel unsafe. I want it to be I and not them. I and not them. Any other feelings that somebody says? Gary, do you know what sucked away your self-trust? Do you know what it was? That's interesting too. And you don't have to share it, but just connect with it. Fear of failure, fear. Actually, fear is the one that usually is. It's fear. The first chakra, root chakra, which connects us to earth. It's fear. Fear of failure. Fear, anger and fear. Okay. You guys, I'm going to push us a bit more. What is our fear of? What is our fear of that keeps us from trusting our physical experience? Feel a fear of failure. What's our fear of, other than failure? Mary Alice, I'm afraid I will trust someone and get burned on an even larger scale than I will give up. Beautiful. Then I will give up. I will give up. Trust. And the mind creating stories. Gary, could be a number of things. I think you know that. Yes. Okay, it's the fear. Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. I want everybody to go into your bodies. Take a deep breath in. Sporty Jen, don't want to feel hurt, inadequate, gullible, and naive. Beautiful. Not being enough. Trusting, trusting, trusting. Fantastic. Okay. Let's take a deep breath in. And release. Take a deep breath in. And release. Take a deep breath in. And release. Right now, we're working together, playing together to strengthen our sense of clarity, our sense of knowing. And we've collectively recognized that this sense of clarity is actually related more to trust. That clarity just comes when we trust ourselves. And we are so connected to Earth and to universe. And so ultimately it's this connection to Earth and this connection to universe that enables us to trust life, self, death, being, success, all of our desires. It's so natural and so beautiful. It's part of the human journey for us to have resistance to trust. So the first thing we're going to do is just honor our courage in exploring what that resistance is. There's no judgment. It is normal. It's normal. It's not just normal. It is the human experience. So I want everybody just to connect. Connect with your fear. Don't overly indulge in any feeling or the story. You can enter your body in any way. One is physical. If you see the physical pain, if your shoulders are tight, your chest, a loss, going through that physical, a judgment on your physical self, open that, welcome that story, welcome that physical location, and just start to surf in it. Now we're going to be surfing in our body and surfing in our emotions. We can also enter through the emotion, the fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, anger. So going through your emotions. When you're in your emotions, feel the physicality of it. Recognize it's just a vibration. It's just a thing. Just we're cleaning out the attic. We're cleaning. This is not bad. It's not good. It's just something we're taking care of. You can also enter through your mind. So if there's a story that you have, that you're stuck, that things can't change, that's about other people, go in through your mind. And when you go through your mind, also deconstruct that beautiful key lime pie. See whether or not you could see the associated emotion, the fear, the resentment, inadequacy, self-doubt, naivety. And then go into your physical. Now you're feeling into your body and surfing between physical, emotional, and mental. Just do it with pure awareness. Stay in the third person and smile. Because it's this surfing that's going to guide you towards calibrating to trust. And it's a muscle. This is a muscle. We're doing all the right things to help build this muscle, to ultimately calibrate back to the trust in life. And you're exactly where you're meant to be. Recognize any judgment that you've held on yourself of being bad, not enough. Judgment of others, judgment on yourself, and just sort of see it and smile. Smile as you would a baby, a child that's a toddler learning how to walk, and you see them fall and they get frustrated, and you just know, don't worry, you're going to run. You will be running, you will be jumping, you might even be a gymnast, you could be an Olympian. There are no limits to your desires in your future. So smile at yourself in your resistance in the same way that if you're watching a toddler learn to walk, that you just know this is just part of the growth, just a natural part of being a baby, a toddler, learning to walk. Just love on yourself and love on this resistance, and recognize that the shift that you desire comes from truly connecting with the emotion and seeing it as love. Not being fearful of these feelings. Whether it's fear of failure or fear of success, it's both self-sabotage and it's not trusting in our journey. We're humans. We are on the human journey. We are collectively humaning. Humaning means that stories will happen. Humaning means that emotions will happen. Humaning means that physical experiences will happen, and we get to unwind from them together. We get to shift the perspective of all of this being bad, struggle and suffer, and recognize it's just life. And slowly clean the attic from the boxes, the cobwebs, and anything that doesn't belong. And it's not even an attic. It's our radiance, our inner radiance, our light, our beauty. We are radiant, amazing light beings. And the resistance just shows us to find and connect with that radiance. Now, if you like, after you've connected with that pattern, emotion and physicality, the feeling, sort of take a journey in time. Time's been an interesting conversation too. Just take a journey in time. Fly back to yourself in your mother's womb and start to see, when did you start to pick up this pattern? Life is conditioning. So this fear of failure or success or not being good enough, or fear of others, hurt, inadequacy, it was picked up. It was picked up in our conditioning days. Sort of fly back into the womb and become aware. Did you pick it up from your mom's vibration? Your dad's? Siblings? Those that are around you? If you really want to be curious, you can see if it came from past lives, if you believe in that. Other generations, ancestors. It's generational energy. And just trust that you'll know. This isn't in any way intellectual. This is emotional. You're in your emotional body. You're in your physical. You're in your spiritual body. Just trust that if you're to know something, you'll just know. Whatever you're meant to know will just come to you. As long as you stay, just connect this. If you feel something strongly and you just recognize an energy, just smile at your baby, at yourself, and just say, hey, you might be born into something, but I just want you to know this is the human conditioning, and you are going to grow and have the opportunity for all of this to just shift and change. You are going to learn so much. Right now you're swimming in the womb. One day you'll be walking and talking and running and biking and driving. One day you're going to have the opportunity, instead of looking outside and calibrating to how other people feel, you're going to be able to light up the womb, be with the beauty of who you are. Look into your early days and weeks and months of being a baby and just sort of see if that pattern, that conditioning repeats itself. It's just a pattern. If you look at your pattern, this emotion, this storyline as a cookie cutter, just keep looking for this cookie cutter feeling. Fear of success, fear of failure, hopelessness, helplessness, whatever it might be. Check for your brand. This is your brand of vibration. And it's not bad, it's your conditioning. And the more you're aware of it, the more powerful it is for you. And today we are taking our power back. Taking our power back. Go into your early months and years. Look for the pattern, that cookie cutter, that vibrational feeling. In your early years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look into your early teens. If you find a fear, enjoy the savoring of it. Enjoy that you found it. We're cleaning the attic, and you found something that was buried that gave you a clue to understanding yourself. You found a picture that showed you something that made you understand why you're thinking away and acting away. It's giving you compassion to the past and compassion to yourself and where you are. Enjoy your reflection and your ability to find these fears. Fly into your 20s, your 30s. Fly to the age that you are now. Just go through your timeline until you get to where you are now. At this point, I want you to celebrate everything that you become aware of. Every clue is a gem. Every emotional experience is a diamond. This is all valuable insight to understanding your conditioning, understanding who you are, loving who you are, recognizing your fears and realizing that these fears are just human journey elements. And when I understand my fear, I can transform them into my desires. So every awareness is a gift. And everything that you're able to articulate, even if it feels limiting, even if it feels fearful, even if it feels stopping, is a gift. It's a gift because it's a clue. So at this point, will you just take a deep breath and let go of any of the resistance that you connected with. It's not resistant anymore because you recognize this is all leading to your growth and your expansion. It's all growth and expansion. It's all leading you to trust life, to calibrating with your inner light, to calibrating with your truth, to calibrating with the beauty of who you are. Take a deep breath in and let go. If you have any physical sensations and you just want to wash it off, sometimes it's really powerful to just shake it off. Shake your hands, shake your body, wash it off. Whatever you want to do, whatever you feel that allows you to replace that resistance with love, to let it go. It is a physical, just carrying out those boxes, wiping away that dust. So take a deep breath in and release. And at this point, I just want you to surrender. Surrender. Recognize that life is amazing. To recognize that this is the human journey. To recognize that the first step is for us to become aware, collectively, aware, and then acknowledge the desire. And today we acknowledge the desire for clarity, which is trusting of life, trusting the higher power. It's alignment with our light, alignment with our inner power, recognizing when to trust ourselves and when to give our trust to others because we love them and we trust them, and we know when we give trust that it will be received. And if it's not, then it's us learning and muscling and growing, and that it's okay. Because instead of using it as a judgment of ourselves as being bad or not good enough, that it was a clue to ourselves that we need to align again with our inner power, that our trust in our life, the truth of who we are. So just surrender all of the resistance, surrender to life, surrender to being a human and humaning. Let's create the intention to align with our inner power, the intention to love life, the intention to let go of our judgments of the past and our projections of the future, to be present, to trust life, trust the universe. And with the trust in life and the trust in the universe, we trust ourselves. Recognize that it's a journey and that we're up for the joyride of this journey, and that collectively we can start to understand all the bits, the pieces, the clues, and put them together. Recognize that we're never going to be perfect until we die. So where we are is good enough. Our fear of success and our fear of failure is judgment as things as not being good enough. Our fear of being alone is not the recognition that we're never alone, because we are connected to infinite source and infinite earth and infinite self. I'm just going to give you 2 minutes to just create any intentions that you want and just sort of surf your body, and I'll just come us back into the virtual room and just discuss our insights. Fantastic. I'm going to count to 5. On 3, come back into the virtual room. And if you want to share any of your realizations, love that. 1, 2, 3. Open your eyes, come back into the room. 4 and 5. Wonderful. Okay, Chuck, as we were going into the meditation, said fear of success, that it would change me for the worse. You know, Chuck, it's so interesting, and I talked about it during the meditation because it came up. There's a form of self-sabotage that we all have. We're comfortable being uncomfortable. We are comfortable and we relate with suffer and struggle and hardship. Life has been painted to us as being suffering, struggling, and hardship. And so we're fearful of success because are we worthy of happiness? Are we worthy of success? And we all are. But just recognition of that fear is just really, really powerful. And just sit with it, smell it, hear it, feel it like we did, and just let it go. Fantastic. Good, 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 good. Steve, I think this is really powerful. Helplessness, born into helplessness, absolutely. Talk to me, Steve. What's the opposite of helplessness? I have the cookie, the cutter, no cookie, no substance. Beautiful. That's helplessness. It's like I don't have it. It's not there. What's the opposite of helplessness? I think it's beautiful because you're starting to become more aware of the emotions that you felt, and the storyline is becoming less dominant and more of the feelings. I think this is so powerful. I see your growth, Steve, and I hope you see it too. Gary, fear of never finding anyone long-term again, question mark. I'm going to replace that question mark with period, period. Fear of never finding anyone long-term again, period, period. It's not a question, it's a period. It came to you. Maybe Manal. No, true, Gary. And it's not the first time it came up during a meditation for you. I mean, I like myself. I want you to love yourself. I love you. You love you. It's love. I like myself. But maybe I think I'll be alone. Beautiful. The fear of being alone. I spoke a lot to being alone for you, and I hope you caught that in the meditation as having a life partner. Beautiful. And Gary, really, when you see that the life is enough and that you're enough and the universe enough and that you're full from all of this, you will have that life partner come and radiate and be part of your life. And so for you, it's about finding that fullness within you now. And then you'll attract that partner. That's a beautiful insight. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful insight. Gail, hi Manal and everyone just listening, can relate so much to everyone. Gail, fantastic. Today was really powerful, actually. It was really, really, really wonderful. Wonderful. Okay, how's everybody feeling? Talk to me with hearts, talk to me with words, talk to me, talk to me, talk to me. Steve, what's the opposite? Moving to Alabama, I don't know. Capableness? Yes, Steve, it's capableness. It's inner power. It's alignment. Howard abuse too. I mean, for decades. I'm still not out. No, you're not out, Steve. But you're more out than you were at the beginning of these meditations and these inspirations. You're more out. So you've got a big attic with a lot of cobwebs and a lot of boxes, and now you keep speaking of the feelings. And you're willing to go into the feelings, and you become aware of the feelings, and you share the feelings. You are cleaning up that attic. And I don't like the analogy of our bodies as the attic, but I would have preferred something different, but you get what I'm saying. Empowerment is the opposite of helplessness. I am HO. Chuck, sometimes with these acronyms, I'm not that young and hip still. I'm hip. I'm not, and I'm young. Okay, I just don't know what it means. See guys, even I come out with my limiting beliefs and then I retranscript them in my humble opinion. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm like, no, I'm young, and no, I'm actually hip. Fantastic. Vanessa, thank you, Manal. This meditation brought awareness to an isolation energy since in the womb and out. Beautiful. Need to play now with being in a welcoming energy to relearn trust. Fantastic. And that's what it's about. It's about recognizing it came from day one. And one of my first early teachers, there was so much judgment on the conditioners, and it didn't feel good. So you became angry with everybody, and it's like, no, everybody was conditioned. It needs to be through love and compassion to the whole journey. The whole journey. Vanessa, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that. I love that. Steve, I'm not in the system of it, sorta. I am a witness. Made it very dangerous for me as I speak. Beautiful. And Steve, I'm not trying to change your physical experience. I want to change your spiritual interpretation. And then your physical experience will shift. I'm going to say that again for everybody. I'm not trying to change anybody's physical experience, nor will I ask anybody to effort changing their physical experience. I hate spiritual work that says, go home and do this. Go home and create boundaries. No, it starts with the inner alignment, the spiritual shifting, and then your physical life shifts. So Gary's awareness, it wasn't like go out and find a partner and you can do it and you're beautiful and you're a great, strong, wonderful man, go find a partner. No, it's like, oh, become aware of the fear of the aloneness. Become aware of you saying, I just like myself and I don't love yourself. Become aware that you're not feeling full and complete from the universe and earth. And then watch when you're in alignment with truth for you to attract what you desire. So it starts with understanding the physical and then shifting, understanding the spiritual relationship to it, shifting the spiritual, and then ultimately your physical will change. How is that, everybody? How is that? Gaslighting is whack crazy, no spirit at all in it. Steve, yes, and you know that on next Tuesday, 11/8, a week from today at 9:30, we're going to talk about gaslighting. And I think it's called Let's Talk About Gaslighting. And we talked about it a few inspirations ago, where gaslighting makes you doubt yourself on your physical, your emotional, your mental, and your egoic. So there's a lot of remuscling. So your attic is very dirty with having a lot of resistance energy to your 4 bodies at once. So you might actually not just be cleaning your attic, you might actually be putting in new beams and putting in new support, because the initial beams and support weren't strong enough for the beauty of the man that you are. So I want you to look at, maybe you're doing a bit of renovations to your attic. Maybe your attic is pretty clean and you have a clean slate, but I'm not supported with my beams, so I'm actually going to work on reinforcing the beams with the truth on my 4 bodies. So you, Steve, have actually a bit more foundation and beam restructuring than cleaning. How does that resonate? How's that analogy go? And gaslighting, we'll talk about gaslighting, and I know I have a really stronger understanding of it since we talked about it when we were talking about trauma, rescripting trauma events. I have a much stronger understanding because we talked about gaslighting quite a bit. And so next week's is going to be really interesting, where we come back, and again, it comes back to trusting ourselves, aligning with truth, which means we need to trust the earth and trust the universe. And if we don't, it's okay. I'm not asking and efforting and forcing. It's all about slowly calibrating back to that through awareness of the resistance. Good, Steve, good. And you keep talking it and keep saying it and keep whatever until the shift comes. Well, somebody get me a hammer. I'm joking, it's horrible. I know, Steve, I know. And I feel it, and I send you all my love and compassion. But I know that there is something strong in there that's coming out to resonate, and I'm really excited to watch. And I've been fascinated by your growth, and I've been fascinated by your desire to growth and your desire to connect and your willingness to speak. And I'm fascinated, and I see that you're growing. I see. I don't know whether can you see that you're growing, Steve? I see that you're growing. I see that you're growing tremendously. I'm seeing that your awarenesses are becoming very, very, very strong, and more internal than external. And that's where the growth is, your willingness to go in. So, Chuck, I developed an attachment to the idea that I don't matter. Growing up the youngest of 3 with a narcissistic mother and older sister. The mindset needs to shift in order to move towards success in my life. Fantastic. And sometimes, Chuck, we talked about time. Sometimes just once we have that awareness, and that's it. You don't need to do any more work. Sometimes it's like, oh, there's that conditioning I need to recondition. There's that conditioning I need to recondition. There's that conditioning I recondition. So it's fantastic. It's wonderful. And I'm excited to be part of that journey of detaching, reconditioning, and recognizing, oh, every single one of us humans, every single one of us are worthy. Every single one of us. Doesn't matter what our story is. Story. So I'm going to recognize that just like every single human other than me is worthy because of who they are, and their conditioning is just a conditioning. So beautiful. I see my conditioning. I honor my conditioning. I love you conditioning, but I'm not playing the game. Not playing the game. Good, good, good. Good, 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 good. Is everybody feeling good? I'm feeling fantastic. I'm feeling fantastic. And I love that everybody brought their game on. Everybody came to speak, to grow, to learn, to honor, to love. Love, love, love that. Love it. See the hearts resonating. Vanessa, beautiful hearts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sending love to you. Okay, guys, I'm feeling pretty complete. Is everybody feeling good? Everybody feeling complete? I'm seeing the hearts going. So on Thursday, we're talking Jules. Yeah, fantastic. Thursday, we're talking about anxiety and fear. That's at 11 a.m. On next Tuesday, I already talked about it, 9:30 a.m. We're talking about gaslighting. And on the Thursday after that, it's not scheduled yet, but we're going to talk about we are not our fault. Oh Lord, says Steve. Oh Lord, fantastic. So we're going to talk about all these things. I'm going to, Steve recommended, I put on the channel, Attaining Your Authentic Life. I'm going to type it in for everybody. Come on there. Attaining Your Authentic Life. Come on to the group. Everybody has been voicing a desire for it to be more active, and the activity needs to be from us collectively. Key lime pie. Fantastic, Steve. So let's talk about anxiety and fear. Let's talk about gaslighting. Let's talk about our we are not our fault. Go on there and talk about where's the biggest shift that you had today. Where do you feel that you enjoyed? I also asked a question about what you're looking to see on that group, in that channel. Steve said regular timing. So I think what I'm going to do is keep constant one a week for now. I'm going to keep constant Tuesday at 9:30. That's going to be a constant time. And then I'll shift. The second one will either be Thursday, Friday, or a weekend day. So one day a week I will keep constant, and the other day I'm going to shift so I can play with the different time zones. So one keeps constant at the 9:30 mark, and the other one will float for the later end of the week, Thursday or Friday or the weekend, so we can start to allow other time zones to have flexibility in afternoons and evenings and such. So that's what the feedback I took from that. I also got the feedback that everybody wants some homework. So before our inspirations, I'm going to ask a question. So right now I'm going to go on there and say, great guys, great session today. Let's talk about anxiety and fear. What are you anxious and fearful of? And actually, I'm not going to respond to them. I'm just going to heart them. I'm not going to try to answer them or solve them or cue them. It's going to be just awareness. So we're not going to go to the acknowledgement. If you want to acknowledge, that's fine, but I'm not going to play it from that level. I'm just going to heart them and just see them and love them and just let us talk. Just talk. Let's talk. I'm anxious about this. Karen, it's going to be an Attaining Your Authentic Life group. So under groups, the group for this Mattain by Manal is under Attaining Your Authentic Life. So it's under groups, and you go in there and you join. Steve, I was just saying that for your benefit. I don't know how timer works or that anyone else was thinking. Steve, about what? Karen, fantastic. Steve, about what? You were just saying for my benefit about what, Steve? Oh, scheduling. No, I think it's a good idea to having one constant, and I like the Tuesday constant. It was the Thursday, Friday that was sort of more that I wasn't sure how my life would be anyway. And also I was trying to play for different time zones, but I do like my early session. So Tuesday 9:30, unless there's something going on with the week, Thanksgiving or travel or whatever. Tuesday 9:30, there's going to be a regular inspiration, and then I'm going to move the other one so I can accommodate different time zones. Steve, I thought so. Yes, fantastic. So we're going to have homework before and then reflection after. And the reflection after is like, that's going to help us east shift. So we say, well, this is what I took. This is the shift that I could see. This is what's going on. Boom, shift. We're going to help each other shift by our observations and what we took from this all. Fantastic. Gary, oh boy, Manal, I can keep you busy all day on anxiety myself. Fantastic, fantastic. It's funny, I've never really had anxiety because anxiety is the fear that you don't articulate. I was free to articulate what my fears were. So anxiety is an interesting one to me. It really is. Anxiety is a fear that I cannot express. It's an interesting one to me. But yeah, go, Gary, go to town, because the only way we let go is by going to town on it. It's like, oh, factual. This is how I feel. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Steve, do some breath work, Gary. Pranayama. Beautiful. Oh, you guys want to do some pranayama sometime too? Fantastic. I'll bring in my yogi teacher that I adore. Okay, good, good, good. Helps. Oh my God, breathing is fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love all the tools. Fantastic. Okay, I see the hearts going. Wonderful. Okay, good. Chuck, it's been said that anxiety is living in the future and depression is living in the past. Yes, I would say that too. And stress is living, is exactly projecting the past. Exactly. So what we want to do is be present. The thesis is let's be present. The thesis is let's trust. The thesis is our conditioning is not bad. The thesis is life is beautiful. The thesis is we are here to be supported. We are connected. We are one. I am. Let's live and see the beauty of life. Let's trust that the earth is here, that there's everything for a reason. We're connected. Life is beautiful. This is the biggest thing. We are not our fault. Exactly, Sporty Jen. We are not our fault. That's the biggest thing that's different. That I do not like life. I do not like saying life is struggle, hard and difficult. It's life. It is. It just is. Let's let go of judgment. We are not our fault. And even better, Sporty Jen, and we can shift that to say we are our light. We are inspiration. That our stories are here to liberate and free us. We are light. We are light. We are amazing. We are beautiful. We are beautiful. We are beautiful. You guys are all so smart and aware and intellectual and dreaming and inspiring and desiring and creating and expressing. You're all amazing. Every single one of you. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, guys, so we'll see you on Thursday or next Tuesday or next Thursday or all of them. I'd love to see you in all of them. I will be there on all of them. Sporty Jen with the heart. Thank you. Is that what you're supposed to do? The heart? The heart? The heart. It changes the camera's focus. The heart. The heart. The heart. Wonderful. Okay, guys, any topics before we go? Vanessa, see you next time. Fantastic. Yes, yes, absolutely. Any requests for meditations, for anything before we go? Any requests? The mic goes back to you all before we say goodbye. Oh, I also got feedback that I need to post these things more quickly, and I will. I keep saying that I need to figure out the process. One of the things I realized is that I need to get another laptop that processes video quicker. So there's a bit of technical, but I'm getting there, guys. Trust me. I know I've been saying that a lot, but I truly am. I truly am. Jules, looking forward to next time. Thank you. But I will start to post them quicker. I'm figuring things out, but they're figured and they're all here. I have them all. Mary Alice, thank you. Yes, Mary Alice, it was your comment. And yes, I hear you all. And once I get my process, I'm really good. I promise. I'm really good. I'm really good. And I'm figuring things out. But I know I've said that a lot, but it's still true. It doesn't negate the truth, but I would have liked it to have been shorter time. But anyway, I hear you and I would love to. Fantastic. Okay, you guys are all beautiful. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Thank you for amplifying my growth and my expansion and my understanding of human journey and my love and compassion for my journey, which then translates and projects into love and compassion for your journey. And I do it from the beauty of our journeys and our stories and our expressions. And when you say that you struggle, it makes me smile and love because it's human. And together we're going to human into loving it. Loving it. Fantastic. Thank you. Namaste to you, Chuck, and to everybody. Love you all. My love. Always.